Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're going to be diving into one of the most controversial and most viral dating trends out there, the passport bro phenomenon. So, you've probably seen videos all over TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube about people traveling overseas to find love, claiming that it's easier and more traditional or just better than dating in the West. But is this really true, especially for Asian guys, or is there more to the story? Stick around because we're going to unpack the hyped reality and share some real world examples that might actually surprise you. So let's get into it. What is a passport bro? The term passport bro describes guys mostly from the Western European countries or US who are traveling abroad to places like Southeast Asia, Eastern Europe, or Latin America in search of romantic relationships or even marriage. So they're fed up with the dating scene at home and they believe they'll find more traditional, feminine, or committed partners overseas. Basically, they're struggling back at home, right? They're not getting girls back at home. So you'll see guys posting travel vlogs, showing local dating scenes, seeing all the beautiful women. They're on boats with these girls, giving on how to date abroad and what these girls like, right? So channels are blowing up by how easy to meet women overseas, dating apps, right? How there's just more open minded. And they're talking about the culture differences, the good and the bad. Okay. So when you see all this, let's first talk about why is this trend getting so big out on social media. So the biggest factors I would say is that people are struggling to meet their own women in their own countries, right? Dating app fatigue. They basically feel like they're not having any success on the apps. They're showing that nearly half of the young women refuse to date a man who's shorter than them. It's all about physical value. And a lot of guys feel like unless you're top of the food chain, they're not getting any matches with girls when it comes to dating apps. They just feel like it's a lost cause. There's a war going on between the two sexes, right? They want to meet women who are more open to traditional roles, who value family and commitment above everything else. Also, the men don't want to pay all the time because if the girls they want to eat their cake and eat it too, and they're making more money, they feel like their girls should pay. When you go to a different country, it's more affordable, especially if it's a country that's not as well developed, I would say, than the West. So the feeling of being undervalued at their own country pushes some guys to look abroad. Why putting so much effort in a country where you're not valued as a man, you feel a little bit lower self-esteem and you're not getting the same validation you would when you're going overseas. So they're trying to see people who are looking past their looks or their value in society in terms of bank account or fame or status, right? But here's where it gets a little bit shady, right? The passport bros movement isn't without criticism and controversy. And honestly, even for me as a guy who's living abroad, I don't brag about where I live. I'm doing it because it's more affordable in terms of living costs. I could have the same benefits living in a city abroad compared to New York City where I'm paying triple or four times the amount. So when it's that standpoint, it makes sense, right? Because you're saying you're trying to either save money, whatever. But when you start arguing that you're going to a country to date more women, especially a lot of Caucasian guys, right? A lot of Caucasian guys are bragging about being on a boat with 10 different women. We probably don't know if they're paid or not to be on the boat, right? So they're using these women as examples. She's so much prettier than the girl you're dating, and you're probably spending more money on her. And they're automatically easier to please. They're more submissive. They cook for you, all that kind of stuff. And you're actually showing, especially when it goes to a lot of Caucasian guys who are doing the whole Southeast Asian countries, they're promoting sex tourism. That's all it is. It's a different transactional way of saying it, but they're showing how they have more wealth and their value is a lot higher in these Southeast Asian countries or other countries where they're perceived as high value. They're just a normal guy. So I get it. You want to move so you feel better about yourself, but here's the real concern, right? First of all, they're coming to these countries with no understanding of the culture. They're also disrespecting the men in that country. That's why if you see some East Asian countries like Japan and Korea and even China, they're like, don't mess with us. They're actually fighting back. And you see Filipinos are doing that too. If a country of old, nasty men were coming to our young men and pretty much saying, we're coming to disrespect your women, disrespect your culture. We don't care about your culture. We just know that we're better than you. So we're going to take all your women and make children with them because all your women want us. As Asian men, when we're in America, we're still not the ideal standard, right? Most women in the West, they prefer to date Caucasian males or other races besides Asian. We're not the ideal type. These guys, they're struggling also, right? So they're taking the easy route to come to Asia to take the girls because they think they can. These guys are thinking that they're getting a little cocky, they're getting a little bit confident, and they're built on false reality and false confidence. When they go back home, it's not really true confidence. It's a fake. They're portraying all this online because they need to show it It's cringy, right? Even me, I live abroad, but I don't want to brag about how easy it is here, right? I'd rather talk about what I'm doing to make myself stronger, saving money, what I have to do to make myself stronger when I go back or I'm in any place in the world. It's like you're trying to change your environment to change who you are. If you're still the same person, nothing's going to change. Everyone thinks that the environment changing will help you. It's a fresh start. But if you're still a loser back at your home country, you're still going to be a loser in this new country. These guys are not making an attempt to even learn the language. I respect the guys who come to these countries and try to learn the culture and to learn the country and show really help out. There's some friends who definitely do that. But I'm talking about legit guys who are literally here to exploit the country and say they have the best life now because they improved themselves. No, if you're moving to a country, not because of a financial situation, but to exploit the women here, to take advantage and to make yourself feel better, you're not becoming a better man, right? So you have to understand that a lot of this false reality of mastermind group in Bali, change your life to be better. Most of these guys are making the same income as you, right? Most of them come to Asia, most of the white guys, or even Asian guys coming to Eastern European countries. If you need a confidence boost, do it for a travel. Maybe 1-2 months, maybe do a 1 year gap year where you feel like you need that confidence. But always remember that you need to challenge yourself. And if you're actually going to live in these countries, I totally get it if you want to do that, but it's a utopia. It's false reality. It's like living in the good place where it's just false. Everything's okay, but it's really not. Everyone thinks South Asia is so perfect. The new American dream is to move to Asia and live the dream. But in the end, what's not the dream is that your insides are all fucked up. Like your inside, your headspace is all fucked up. Okay. Let's do some honest reality check between me and you as an Asian bro watching this, right? Should I go to Eastern Europe maybe if I want to date white girls, or should I go to Asia so I could date more attractive girls or to be more confident? Okay. So I'm not going to call out the people who are genuinely overseas, but to be honest, I know this from being a Korean background. Most of us, if we're Korean, if we're purely Korean, we would like to date someone who has similar culture, right? I do think Asian versus Asian, we do have same cultures, but I would like to actually have a connection with my wife and talk to her in Korean or English, right? Because I speak English and Korean. And I would like to have genuine conversations with her, right? And also, I love Korean food. I love Korean culture. So I would love to date someone who is similar in culture so we have common rapport. But if you're a completely different race, like if you're white, black, going to a different country to meet women who are totally outside your race, unless if you actually speak the language and you're able to communicate, there has to be some surface level transactional value being exchanged, right? The West has changed with the woke culture and the traditional roles. There are girls who say they want equality and not want to pay for the first date. So I guess if you're an older guy and it's really hard to find women back in your country, I get it. But if you're like a guy in your mid 30s, or if you're young, if you're like in your 20s and you're trying to come to a utopia. I remember I was in Bali and this guy said, man, you lived your whole life in Bali as a kid. Man, your reality is probably messed up because you think this is what the real world is. But the real world is not like this. You actually have to work your way up. You can't just reality. At one point, right, you're going to have to face challenges, right? And at one point, the country you're in is not going to always be bad, right? Then where you're going to move to another country, once that country becomes more successful and the girls have higher standards, are you now going to move to another country where they have lower standards? Every country that was poor back in the day, like Korea was really not, but now the standards have gotten higher. They become one of the richest countries. One thing I respect about Korean women is they do mostly date Korean men. And Western men, times are changing, right? Now they're really trying to develop their own country. The men are becoming more masculine. The Western guy, especially a white guy, and you're trying to be more confident. You have to admit that. As an Asian guy, I strongly recommend go do a gap year, go a couple months traveling, go have fun. But in the end, you have to come back and use that confidence to be successful in the country that you're in, especially if you're a Western Asian American. So for me, I lived in the West till I was 27, 28. And right now, I admit, comfortable living in Thailand has made me soft. I know this is a utopia. This is not real life. But I think when a lot of these, especially the Caucasian guys, they get this false confidence. They get cocky and they're posting about how life is great. It's just these younger dudes, like 30-year-olds, or like creating masterminds, like, learn how to have an Asian girlfriend. It is known for a fact that Asian women date mostly outside their race back in the West. We're the only race where they date over 50%. And also in Southeast Asia, most of the women don't want to date their own men. Maybe it's because father issues. Like Southeast Asia has that issue, right? You see mostly like foreigners because they gave a better way of life, they're higher value, and they don't have the same equal opportunity. But I guarantee you, if these countries, the men had the same equal opportunity, they could be just as successful as these other foreigners. Times are changing, right? And I'm not going to say anything about the white guys or the other non-Asian guys watching this, but I feel like if you're an Asian bro, here's the thing. By all means, if you want to follow this trend and you see it, but first, don't go to another Asian country. Don't go to a Southeast Asian country and you feel like you're on top of the world because you're getting all these younger girls. There's a reason why A lot of guys are flocking to these countries because they want to feel confident. They don't feel good about themselves. Your environment can't actually change who you are. If you're a loser back home, you're always going to be a loser. You're not a king all of a sudden because you went to Thailand and you're on a yacht and you can afford it better. If you can't afford a yacht in Miami where you can afford it, but don't brag about it, that you're like this boss guy. And I think as an Asian guy, because of the value of pride, the value of not being fake and being authentic, if you really see it, it's not really Asian guys talking about going to these countries. It's mostly non-Asian guys coming to an Asian culture, disrespecting our culture, talk about how our women are fetishized and submissive, and they're doing all this. So I feel like if you're an Asian guy watching this, go to some countries where they probably respect Asian men more. And if you're going to do this, just keep it to yourself. So if you're a guy who is suffering back in the West and you feel like you want to face a challenge and upgrade yourself, if you go to an easier country, you feel more confident and you're dating more attractive girls, then stick to that, guys. So here's my takeaway for you guys. Finding love abroad, if you're really desperate and you feel like you don't have time to put in the work and you're just going to focus on making money and you want to retire and you just want to live like a king, what you have, and you don't want to put in any more work and you want to be lazy, fine. But it's not a solution to your happiness. If you take the easy way out, after a couple of years, maybe you'll feel happy and rationalize that this is the way to be. But every time you leave that country, whatever country you're in to make you feel self-confident, you're probably not going to create a respect for the culture, the women you're meeting, and also the men over there. But most likely, you're not going to respect yourself because you think that country's easy. You think you're respecting the country. That's where you're going. No, you're actually undermining that country. And think it's an easier place for you to be higher value. That means you think you're better than that country or the countrymen. So you're not respecting the culture at all. If you're not confident in getting women or dating women that you actually like in your own place, right? It doesn't matter if it's Boston, Bali, New York, or Bangkok. You're still a loser if you're a loser back in the States. Nothing's going to change just because you change it. You might see reality shifts and that might make you confident. So I said, if it's going to help you get evidence to make you more confident that this is who I could become, take it back with you and use that in those places. Don't keep traveling. If you really want to, you can, but don't get cocky about it. Don't brag about it. No, that makes no sense. Keep it to yourself if you're going to keep that lifestyle, because you're not teaching men how to be confident. You're not teaching men how to attract girls the right way because you're just attractive in a special circumstance where everything works for you. The real secret is this: become the kind of man who's valuable and confident no matter where you are, especially as an Asian man, because we're not loved all over the world like these other men, Caucasian men, Black men, Latino men. We have to actually pick certain countries where we might be loved, right? So work on your communication, work on your confidence, work on your identity, work on your purpose, and work on your mindset. If you want to go to another country, but when you ground yourself where you are and become confident where you're planted and learn how to grow there, grow the benefits of the fruit there, then you can have amazing relationships in your hometown, in any place, or even when you're traveling, you can meet amazing women or make amazing friends. If you like this video, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and drop a comment below. Posted a free download for a confidence identity worksheet where you could actually figure out, are you actually confident or are you just putting false confidence because you're living out a false reality of life that you think is true and you think that this is the real you. If you wasn't the real you back at where you were, it's not the real you now. If you ever thought about this whole passport trends, let me know what you think about it. And if you're on your own growth journey and want help building confidence and emotional resilience, check out my coaching link for a coaching call, no strings attached. Let's turn your dating challenges into your biggest strengths. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.